It's Monday, June 24. In the headlines, water restrictions for sections of Kingston and St. Andrew. Concerns about Jamaica's maternal mortality rate. In business news, expert backs secure digital payments for MSMEs amid rising scams. Regionally, 6.2 magnitude earthquake shakes Trinidad and Tobago. And in sports, an ICC Men's World Cup update. Windies lose to South Africa. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Customers served by the National Water Commission's Mona and Hope water treatment facilities will be impacted by water supply restrictions starting today, June 24. That's the word from the National Water Commission, NWC. The utility company says the restrictions are due to storage levels declining rapidly. According to the NWC, the Mona Reservoir in St. Andrew is at 66.1% of its capacity, or 534.8 million gallons, with the storage levels decreasing quickly. Similarly, limited inflows have been contributing to declining storage levels at the Hope water treatment plant. In light of this, the NWC has been forced to implement water supply regulations as a way of managing the water supply across the network. Areas to be affected includes Mona Heights, Crossroads, Mountain View, Old Hope Road, Cassia Park, Eastwood Park Road, Halfway Tree Road, Upper Maxfield Avenue, South Camp Road, Downtown Kingston and Harbour View. Hope Pastures, Mona, Ligani, sections of Barbican, Kintyre, Gordontown and Augusttown will also be affected. Jamaica's maternal mortality rate has increased over the last 4 years. The country's chief medical officer, Dr. Jacqueline Bissessa-McKenzie, says the data is worrying. She addressed the issue at the last press brief held by the Health and Wellness Ministry.
Chief Medical Officer Bissessa-McKenzie says Jamaica experienced its highest rate of women dying from complications with pregnancy during the COVID-19 pandemic.
In 2019, we had a rate of 163.5 per 100,000, and in 2021, with COVID, we went up to 211 per 100,000. We know that we had associations with poor outcomes and pregnancy, and just like the rest of the world where the numbers in terms of maternal deaths increased, our numbers also increased as we had a number of antenatal patients who did suffer from COVID and had poor outcomes. And that resulted in that spike in our maternal mortality rate in 2021.
The Jamaica Population Health Status Report 2000 to 2022 says Jamaica has been unable to bring its maternal mortality rate below 100 per 100,000 live births since 2016.
Post-COVID, we are at the level in 2022 as we were in 2019 with 161 per 100,000. And then in 2023, our numbers have declined a bit. We're at about 130.
According to Dr. Bissessa-McKenzie, chronic non-communicable diseases and unhealthy lifestyles are issues that have an impact on pregnancy.
The major causes of death in this group are hypertensive disorders of pregnancy and postpartum hemorrhage, bleeding after giving birth. Now, we have seen over the last couple of years that our incidence of non-communicable diseases have increased and continue to increase. And this affects our pregnant mothers just the same, because the number of mothers with chronic diseases are also increasing. And so, therefore, we have risky pregnancies.
She says more work needs to be done to bring awareness to NCDs and antenatal care.
We are launching an antenatal campaign so that we can educate persons in the general population about pregnancy, so that this thing in terms of when you are ready to become pregnant, that this is planned. So you are looking after your health, you're looking after your nutrition, and you're looking after your mental well-being to make sure that you're in a good position.
For the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
When compared to pre- and post-COVID-19 results, students' performance in the 2024 primary exit profile exams showed overall improvement across all subject areas in the proficient and highly proficient categories. Danita Rodney tells us more in this report.
During a press briefing at the ministry's offices in Kingston on Friday, Education and Youth Minister Favour Williams shared that 60% of students achieved a ranking in the proficient or highly proficient category in mathematics this year.
When we drill down into the mathematics, we note that our students performed well in terms of modeling and data analysis. 84% of the students did well. They're in the proficient or highly proficient category. In communicating, reasoning, 60% of the students were there in those two categories. In concepts and procedures, 58%. Where we have work to do is in problem solving. And so when we go forward and when we look at the intervention that's needed, obviously this is an area in which we have to do better in.
In language arts, 67% of students were ranked highly proficient or proficient, marking a 7 percentage point increase compared to 2023.
Student performance in language arts, 67% of students were proficient or highly proficient in language arts for the 2024 administration of the grade 6 PEP. This was a 7 percentage point increase in this achievement level band for 2024 when compared to 2023.
Mrs. Williams also reported that 70% of students were placed in the proficient or highly proficient category for science.
72% of our students were in the proficient or highly proficient category. And when we look at the component parts, when we drill down, they outperform in practices. So 89% of the students were in the proficient or highly proficient category. 67% were also at the proficient, highly proficient category in the cross-cutting concepts and core ideas, 57.4%. So that's an area that we have to do more work in.
In social studies, 72% of students were categorized as proficient or highly proficient, moving from 63% in 2019 and 67% in 2023. Minister Williams announced that academic support will be provided for students in the beginning and developing categories and urged parents and guardians to be patient with them. For the news on PBCJ, I'm Danita Rodney.
Since the year began, more than 37 motorcycle drivers and pillion drivers have died in road accidents. That's based on data from the Island Traffic Authority's annual crash reports. The authority says 180 people died in road accidents in 2021 while riding on motorcycles, and the trend continues year on year. With motorcycle fatalities currently accounting for more than 30% of accident fatalities, the Jamaica National Foundation and the National Road Safety Council have combined forces to create the National Helmet Wearing Coalition. We delve into the issue in this three-part JIS report.
In Jamaica, motorcycling is more than just a transportation. For some, it's a lifestyle. But this thrilling ride comes with high stakes. Data from the National Road Safety Council shows that motorcyclists account for more than 30% of fatalities from road crashes. 90% of the motorcyclists who die on our roads were not wearing a helmet. With these alarming statistics, the Jamaica National Foundation JNF and the National Road Safety Council NRSC have combined forces to create the National Helmet Wearing Coalition NHWC. The initiative is being funded by a global charity, the FIA Foundation out of London.
The main purpose is to create an environment, an ecosystem, if you will, where motorcyclists will want to wear a helmet and will want to wear an approved standard helmet.
Tradition and habit often outweigh safety in Jamaica. Many riders shun helmets and gear, risking severe injury and death.
If you wear a helmet and you are involved in a crash, up to 60% of those who are involved in a crash will not die. And the main reason for this is that helmets protect your head. And head injuries is a big problem with motorcyclists. They die because of this. They die because of other reasons. They have problems with their legs. They have severe injuries because they're wearing slippers and shorts. But the big problem is that they're not wearing helmets.
In recent years, the roads have become increasingly dangerous for motorcycle drivers.
We have seen a tremendous increase in the number of them dying. 2012, only 260 people died. Last year, 425 died. And the main reason is that in 2012, 41 motorcyclists died. Last year and the year before, over 150. So we have had a tremendous jump. And it's mainly due to the young motorcycles, which are cheap imports out of China. And if the police sees them, because they have no license, they have no insurance, and police sees them and they buy another one tomorrow morning because they have money from different sources.
Picture this. You are behind the wheel and suddenly a yang zooms towards you pulling a wheelie. It's a heart-stopping moment, isn't it?
It's scary. You can make a sudden move and endanger your own life. So that's a big problem now, and it's not just a young. I've seen the messengers who are transporting lunch and dinner and all kind of things, doing wheelies also. It's crazy.
In the business report, amid the increase in online scamming schemes and bank card phishing, some entrepreneurs share skepticism in using online payment methods, despite their increasing popularity and usage. But Jermaine Bryan, business developer and startup coach, says while vigilance is necessary, payment gateways are a secure option for micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises to do business. A recent study conducted by the agency shows that 32% of MSMEs are aware of the benefits associated with digital technologies, while 17% have adopted more foundational technologies like e-commerce. NCB Jamaica Limited is introducing a new tap-on-phone contactless payment solution, currently being piloted with a select number of its micro, small, and medium-sized customers. The tap-on-phone feature will enable Android users to accept payments using contactless EMV chip cards or any near-field communication-enabled device, including wearables or a digital wallet like NCB Pay. Merchants using NCB's ePOS will receive settlements in their NCB Jamaica dollar and US dollar bank accounts as fast as the next day, including weekends, enabling them to have quick access to their money. Deputy CEO of Grace Kennedy Financial Group, Stephen Whittingham, is the new chairman of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, succeeding Julian Mayer, who is ineligible for re-election as chairman of the board. The JSE also has a new deputy chairman in Stephen Gooden, former CEO of NCB Capital Market, who replaces Whittingham. Mayberry Jamaican Equities says its bond offering has been oversubscribed. The company closed the offer on Wednesday. The basis of allotment of the MJE bonds will be published on the Jamaica Stock Exchange website. Now, let's get the latest updates on the financial markets from Denise Williams.
During the trading for the period of the week, June 17 to June 21, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 10,997,949 units amounted to 12.41% of the market volume in terms of sales. Omni Industries Limited with 9,074,431 units amounted to 10.24% of the market volume in terms of sales. Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 8,822,709 units amounted to 9.96% of the market volume in terms of sales. Over on the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, trading on June 21, 2024, registered a volume of 82,192 shares crossing the floor of the exchange, valued at $1,241,087 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 79 cents. Massey Holdings was the volume leader with 35,182 shares changing hands for a value of $142,675 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 54 cents, followed by National Enterprises Limited with a volume of 10,469 shares being traded for 34,930 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 39 cents. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies, we turn to the Forex market. On June 21, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $51.5 million was bought from Forex traders while US $56.3 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $156.59 and bought the US dollar for $155.20. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.39, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $2.15 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $115.60 and bought for $113.45. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $3.47, selling it for $196.49 and buying it for $193.02. For our credit report tip of the day, let's look at what happens when you experience a financial setback, but then get a windfall of cash. Now, the financial setback can be challenging, but when you get a windfall of cash, you have a unique opportunity to rebuild your credit score and secure a brighter financial future. Here are some strategic steps that you can take to make the most of this opportunity. You need to start by taking a comprehensive look at your current financial status. List all your debts, their interest rates, and outstanding balances. Understanding your financial landscape is crucial for making informed decisions. And with that, we wrap up today's business report.
In regional news, a 6.2 magnitude earthquake struck Trinidad and Tobago just before midnight on Saturday, followed by an aftershock in the early hours of Sunday. More from TTT News.
A 6.2 magnitude earthquake rocked Trinidad and Tobago just before midnight on Saturday and was followed by an aftershock in the wee hours of the morning. The UE Seismic Research Center recorded the earthquake at 11:58 p.m. on June 22nd. It measured 6.2 on the Richter scale with a depth of 46 kilometers. The event, which originated near Carapuno, Venezuela, was felt throughout Trinidad and Tobago. At 3:47 a.m., UE Seismic recorded a magnitude 3.9 tremor with a depth of 90.0 kilometers. This tremor also originated near Carapano, Venezuela. These most recent earthquakes follow a series of tremors recorded by the UE Seismic Research Center. On June 20th, there was a 3.9 magnitude earthquake at 6:48 a.m., which was felt in Scarborough, Tobago, Arima, and Bridgetown, Barbados. On June 17th, the UE Seismic Research Center recorded a 4.0 magnitude earthquake at 6:56 a.m. This event was felt in Port of Spain, Arima, and Scarborough, Tobago.
Following a recent agreement, teachers will return to the classroom 2 weeks before schools across Guyana are scheduled to close. Travis Chase reports with more details on this development.
The more than 70 days of industrial action by Guyana teachers will finally come to an end now that the Guyana Teachers Union, the Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Labour have agreed on the terms of resumption when they met on Friday morning.
We were able to agree on the terms of resumption. The normal clause within a term of resumption, which indicates that there will be no victimization, persons will not lose their seniority and stuff like that. But key to this would be the clause that allows us to return in the new week to have conciliation on the time frame.
That's President of the Guyana Teachers Union, Dr. Mark Light, confirming that teachers will return to the classroom by next Tuesday. The GTU president said this will now pave the way for conciliation talks.
Both parties have agreed to be bound by the 1990 the Grievance and Procedure Memorandum. And that stipulates the timelines for all the processes. So
the strike has been called out?
Once these are the terms of resumption, so now we will issue a statement to indicate to our members that within 2 working days, they are expected to be back at work.
The GTU, Ministry of Education, and the Ministry of Labour have agreed that there will be no victimization, no loss of service, no transfer of teachers upon resumption, and that teachers will return to their respective positions before the strike.
There's no documentation to say that a teacher has to be, there's no policy document to say a teacher has to be there first or last day. But the norm and practice that we have seen in the past is that persons have had that happen to them if they didn't report on the first day or the last day. And this is something that a lot of teachers were concerned about, and they raised that during our consultation. So many of them had indicated that whether the strike was called off or not, they were going to resume duty on or before the last day of school.
Asked if the Guyana Teachers Union has reneged on its position that government must make a 20% interim pay increase before the strike is called off, Dr. Light responded.
Prior to the previous sets of meetings, during the lapse between June the 10th and now, we went back to our membership to state the position that the government has adopted. And the members would have indicated to us that they are prepared to allow the process for the process to be followed, minus the interim payment or the cash grant.
The contentious issue, however, remains the same: the negotiating period for the GTU's multi-year proposal.
The St. Lucian government and stakeholders are actively evaluating the feasibility of using geothermal resources in the southwest region of the country for power generation. HTS News Force will provide further information on this initiative.
Officials are exploring the Soufrière constituency and surrounding communities for geothermal energy. Geothermal energy is heat generated within Earth and is a renewable source that can be harvested for human use. Residents in the South have some concerns about the process. Senior Minister Stevenson King sought to allay concerns outside Parliament this week, assuring residents that most of the exploration will be facilitated below the surface.
There are modern and advanced technology being used now, and much of the drilling will not even actually take place precisely in Soufrière, but in surrounding communities in Saltibus and other areas using slim hole drilling. That you'll not get any effects on the surface, mainly to get into the strata of the earth, and to be able to do the necessary investigations to determine the capacity of geothermal down there.
In January 2021, the World Bank approved US $21.9 million for the Renewable Energy Sector Development Project for St. Lucia. This grant financing seeks to help evaluate the possibility of the island's geothermal resources for power generation. King says a loan will be guaranteed if drillers find success in locating geothermal resources.
The project is moving on. We certainly have the resources for the project, and out of that, once we are successful, once we're able to identify sufficient capacity, then it becomes a loan, but for the time being it's a grant.
The Renewable Energy Sector Development Project also aims to strengthen the business environment, enabling the private sector to pursue clean energy projects. It supports this goal through exploration drilling, capacity building, technical assistance, and market engagement initiatives. Additionally, the project works to prepare women for technical jobs in the energy sector by providing them with access to educational programs and employment opportunities.
In sports, South Africa hit their way to the T20 World Cup semi-finals after a tense 3-wicket win against West Indies in a winner-takes-all Super 8s match. After England secured their place in the last 4 on Sunday, the game in Antigua was essentially a quarter-final to decide the other side to progress from Group 2. South Africa got through to the top of the group with England second and will face the runners-up in Group 1. It is still unclear which semi-final either team will play until India's final position in Group 1 is confirmed. The West Indies went up against South Africa on Sunday in the final Super 8 match, and the hard task was made clear after the US versus England encounter on a Sunday.
Chris Jordan ripped the tail out of the USA lineup with a devastating bowling performance for England at Kensington Oval. Jordan registered a hat-trick of wickets to end the American innings on 115 all out in 18.5 overs as they batted first when England chose to field. Nitish Kumar top-scored for the USA with 30, while Jordan took 4 wickets in 5 balls to end with the impressive figures of 4 for 10 in 2.5 overs. Sam Curran and Adil Rashid had 2 wickets each. The English made light work of the target and in the process surged to the top of the table with an impressive net run rate of 1.992, which made tonight's encounter between the West Indies and South Africa a must-win affair. England reached 117 to surpass the target in 9.4 overs without losing a wicket. Their captain, Josh Butler, got 83 in 38 balls with 6 fours and 7 sixes, as his opening partner, Phil Salt, played spectator with 25 of 21 balls. England winning by 10 wickets with 62 balls to spare.
That's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.